How's it going, everybody? So we are at part 4 of the Range Rover dash cam installation. The front is installed and the blend mount's installed and working. Well, now we've come to the rear dash cam installation. And so that is where we are. I've decided to mount it right here on this panel here. And I'm going to route the cable from, I'm going to tuck it in here, string it through this panel into one of these hoses, whichever is more convenient. And then we are going to somehow find our way to the front of the vehicle. As this is probably the most difficult portion, I'm going to start back here and work my way up front. I know I will be removing all of these pillars, the trim on them. That shouldn't be too bad. But anyway, we're going to actually remove the rear spoiler to gain access to the these hoses. So that is where we are now. First step is going to be popping out these little retainer bolts. Well, if I don't drop and lose it. These guys. I've already popped one out. And so let's get that other one on this side. Basically, there should be some bolts or nuts under here that we can take out. We're going to get this one as well. We've already gotten, well, there's one in here we need to get to. And we'll go from there. Actually, I guess we could just let that dangle there. The 5 nuts holding on the rear spoiler are all 13 millimeter. All right, with the spoiler loose, I'm gonna lift it up here and take a peek. We have a few connections that we're gonna want to undo before trying to rip this guy off. So I'm gonna see if I can feel around in there and peel those off. But basically what I'm trying to get to is this guy. This is that hose you see when you lift the tailgate up. And there was electrical tape completely covering this, which is what I've removed here with a little blade. And so now what I'm going to attempt to do is feed or fish the power cable through here. And once we're through here, we will determine how to get it actually into the, tailgate panel here. But the first part is going to be fishing it through this and then having it come back underneath the headliner. So I'm going to see about figuring that out. Yep. that pulls out pretty easily. Just these a couple clips and that one bolt. I'm trying to work out how to get the cord from inside here into this thing, through this hose, and into here where I can run it along to the front. So I've removed both rear C-pillars, maybe? I forget what those are. And I've pulled down on this, which was a little sketchy. Kind of worried I was going to break something, but I did pop a clip, and there's a big center clip glued on here with this yellow tab right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. This thing. All right, guys. So first off, let me apologize. This video is going to be all over the place because I'm figuring this out as I'm going. So bear with me. Where I'm at now is I don't think it's going to be possible to slide the coaxial through the top in through here. So what I'm going to try to do is come up through the bottom and out the top, and then kind of try to pull it out with my Knipex pliers. So what I've done is I've pulled out this retainer, this little kind of, it's almost rubbery, but kind of hard retainer thing, and it was covering the openings here for these things, and I've pulled this one off, this little gasket. And now I'm going to remove this white clip and feed the coaxial through this boot up here, and then hopefully be able to get it with the Knipex, or the Knipex pliers, however you say them. So that's where we are at the moment. All right. So I've pulled until this whole thing has come out. So hopefully we will be able to get that back into this clip. So, anyway, I've decided that going up through here is not going to work. So I'm back to trying to shove the elbow through here and into here. So right now we are up to about here somewhere. And we're going to continue to try to get the head of this through here. Well, I did it. So, finally got the coaxial through this hose. It was miserable, to be honest with you. I ended up just pulling this piece, just almost degloving it down to here, shoving the straight side or the rear side of the coaxial down through here, pushed it as far as it could, and then just kept working this material until I could get it to this tight spot right here. And then finally I was able to get my Knipex needle nose, or these extra long needle nose, through there to grab it, pull it out. So now I don't know how much cord I'm gonna need, or coaxial I'm gonna need on either side, but thankfully it pulls through pretty easy. This is the side that I ended up pushing through. You can see I chewed it up a little bit. I did just check it, and the camera still works with the cable. Man, wouldn't that be something? You get this cord ran, and then the cable got damaged. I'd give up and pay somebody to do it at that point. But anyway, I'm going to try to tidy all this back up. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna seat this boot back around this white clip and then lock it into place. Then I'm going to put this trim retainer thing, try to figure out which way it goes, and position that back. Locking is in place. And then the next big step will be trying to figure out how to run it through where it's coming up in there, out to here.
A few moments later.
Okay, another apology. This video is gonna be awful. It's so random. So sorry. But ultimately what I've determined is I cannot get through here. So, I mean, this stuff, like, the panel right between the glass and that trim is just sealed solid. I'd honestly be afraid of just ruining the whole tailgate if I tried to pry that open. So, what I am doing instead, I still have the wire, or the coaxial ran through that rubber boot and up into the spoiler area. And then the rest of it's going to go down this trim and then follow along to the front. But what I'm going to do instead is, I found this on Full Fat Range Rover forum. I Googled, before even buying this thing, I've looked everywhere for an install or write-up on this, and I have found nothing. But I finally found this very super hidden thread, and I'm going to try what they're saying. But basically, I'm going to run this wire, coaxial here, instead of going through into here, I'm going to end up getting it through here under this panel, which goes here, and I popped off. Then we're going to run it through in here, and, well, oops. And as you can see, this bottom panel I've pried off. This was scary to pop off, but it does come off fairly easy. You just got to work at it. I used my big pry tool on the bottom and popped all these out, and then just put some upward pressure, or pressure that way, and the whole thing came out. It is dangling by a wire connecting to that sensor right there, and can't get it unplugged, so that's why I have my tripod propping this thing up, as to not put too much tension on that wire. But here is where we are. I think we're getting close to the home stretch. Basically, oh yeah, where I was starting. Or let me get back to what I was saying. Once I'm in here, I'm going to route it up through here and put the camera right near that sensor. This is where I originally planned to install the camera. I thought it would at least be out of sight of the driver when looking in the rear view, because the seats are going to be blocking this thing right here, and it'll still have pretty good view. But I thought it might look a little cleaner installed up there. But since that does not appear to be an option without drilling and taking the whole tailgate apart, I'm going to go this route. So I'm going to pull that coaxial back around and see how best to get in here without disrupting anything else. And we'll check back in a moment. So now that we got all the wires ran for the tailgate, we're gonna seal this back up. I've got everything plugged back up where it needs to go, but as you can see, I kind of mutilated this rubber boot. So I'm just going to zip tie, well actually I'm gonna put some electrical tape around it, get a nice seal again, and then I'm going to zip tie it, this opening of the boot up, just to keep that nice and tight. Okay, I got that sealed up with some electrical tape and got a zip tie on there. Next step is going to be putting this spoiler back on. So I have to reconnect the washer nozzle here. There's going to be a quick connect right here, one here, got another connector down there, and then there were two, well actually these pieces connected to a little almost ballast looking thing that it bolts down right here. I couldn't get the clip to release, so I ended up just taking the whole ballast off since I could get this side of the clip undone. But I'll show you that in a moment. First, I'm going to show you the camera. And this was no easy feat, let me tell you. Let's see. All right, Sorry, I got the flash. Well, I don't have the flash on, so. But the LED from the camera is on there. But anyway, removing this thing wasn't too bad. Putting this back on, major pain. Kind of miserable. But we got it installed. It's for the most part out of sight. You do see this wire coming out a little bit and going down in there, but the tent's so dark on the rear, you won't see it from the outside. And you also won't see it from the driver position, looking in the rear view. So that's nice. That's better. So, got this all back in place. Well, I'm gonna have to redo this clip here. Keep missing the edge of that. But we're going to get the spoiler back on, pop these back on, and then we can start tackling running the wire to the front, which should be a cakewalk after the pain that this tailgate was. Got the hard part done. Now we're going to try to move the coaxial cable all the way along to the front and then route it up to the mirror like we did the front camera. So I'm going to, I've already removed this, what I think the C pillar, I think it's called a C pillar, B pillar, I don't know what it's called. The rear pillar. Now we're gonna move this one, or the cover anyway. All right. And this one is an 8mm socket. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to push this wire up around this rear pillar here and up against the headliner in between the window. I may need to use my little trim tool to kind of shove it up under there. Or actually, there we go. Just pulling this down a little bit, I can route it pretty easily. All right. Then I'm just going to do the same on this side. Only we're gonna have to pull this this rubber door seal down some more. Okay, we're just going to tuck this under the headliner. And all the way forward. Tell you what, we're gonna have to put our pillar back on here, and that'll hold the wire in place there. Okay, we got that snapped in. Let's thread our bolt back in here. All right, I'm gonna put the rear pillar back on now. And then we can move on to the front here, take that one off, and keep rolling. So I have cleaned up all the way from the back. We're under the headliner. I still gotta put that bolt in. Now we're up at the driver A-pillar. So I'm just gonna tuck this in around, and then I'm just gonna stuff it until I get to this thing. I'm gonna pop this back off and try to route it just like that one. Now, I am going to have more cord that I need, so what I'm going to do is just kind of loop that back down the A-pillar here. And I should probably zip tie that so it's not wrapped around the old airbag. But that's what we'll be going to next. Alright, we're on the home stretch. Got the rear camera wire, the coax cable there, wired up and hidden inside the box thing there. And you can see it coming out right there, and it's tucked up under the headliner. And instead of looping the extra down here because of this airbag, also because it was drooping the wire when I tried to do that. So what I did, oh, thank you. So what I did is I pulled it taut through here and then coiled up the rest of it in under the headliner here. So that took care of that. And so now I just got to put this A-pillar back on and tidy a few more things up, and then we will be good to go. All right, guys, I am happy to announce that we can conclude part 4 finally. It took me several hours. Many hours, but we have everything nice and connected. Everything is working, and part 5 I'll show you the camera and how it works and whatnot. But we're all connected, nice and clean, no wires. A-pillar back on, cord ran all the way to the back. Let me show you what it looks like. All right. So from the back, you can't really see it. This glass is pretty dark tint. Now at night, you can see that LED blinking through the warning light that, hey, I got a dash cam. All right. And wire disappears right down in there. And as you can see, no wires to be seen. Everything looks nice and OEM. Very pleased. With that said, oh my God, just pay somebody to do it. If you got a Range Rover and a $500 dash cam, just pay somebody to do it. Not worth it. Unless you just enjoy this stuff like me. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, is anybody attempting to do this, I imagine you will. I had questions. But leave me a comment and I will be happy to try and help you. Thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned for part 5.